Sean and Joe, another episode ready to go. They're gonna talk about the good and the trash and anything in between. Cherishing make-believe, get ready for Halloween. It's the horror show. I know you missed those guys. Tune in and find out what's on their list tonight. They butcher and dissect, take apart and mutilate. Listen to your two favorite brainiacs communicate. It's the horror show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Horror Show. Show dissects, mutilates, dismembers, and butchers all of your favorite and not-so-favorite horror movies and other horror-related events. I'm Sean.
I'm Joe.
Hello, Joe.
What's going on?
Oh, nothing, man. I feel defeated. I feel fucking defeated.
We were talking about it briefly on Patreon.
Yeah.
This is the end of Trovember. I'm putting my foot down. Usually in the past, and I said this on Patreon, so sorry if you're hearing it twice, but usually in the past, it's been you that's been like, I don't know if I want to do Trovember, and I'm always like, it's kind of Sean's gimmick, and then he'll come around to it. No, I'm fucking done with Trovember. I'll do the first Toxic Avenger, which is honestly asinine that we've never done that before.
Yeah.
If you ask me to do that, if you ask me to do it in November, I'm fine with it. If you ask me to do Surf Nazis Must Die, fine. But I'm not doing fucking Trovember ever again.
There's like a handful that I would consider maybe doing again. Or not doing again, but doing for the show. But like even those, like they like there's some that I saw while I was looking this up, and it was like on paper, you're like, that sounds great. And then you watch it and you're like, no, what? Like, what the fuck is this? I'd actually rather do...
Yeah, like Rabid Grannies.
Right.
Like, remember that? We were like, I can't wait to do that. It's just two fucking disgusting old people eating dinner for half the movie.
And like, I'd honestly rather do Lloyd's, like, weird teen comedies that he, like, broke into the business with. Honestly, like, I feel like we'd get more joy out of those.
Are you sure?
No. Definitely not. Definitely unsure of that statement. So guys, we were going to do Tales from the Crapper from 2004. I started it. It opens with Lloyd wearing a fucking garbage bag. That's his crap keeper costume. And the microphone quality is like distorted, like a bad podcast host, right? It is just muffled. It's awful. It sounds like it's insane. It's so distorted. James Gunn shows up, and that bit was like kind of funny, and then it opens to the first thing, and I'm pretty sure these were just sent to Lloyd, and he used them. Like the quality is so low that it was honestly mind-blowing. And I texted Joan, I was like, we absolutely fucking cannot do this.
So if you had Sean audibling on your Trovember bingo card, you can mark it off. We got the audible 2 weeks in.
And we only doing 2 weeks. To get an audible in 2 weeks is absolutely madness. Absolute madness. Oh my God, they had boner vision in it, so there was like just a screen in the corner with naked people, and it was just like the fucking worst shit in the world. And then I downloaded it with the director's commentary, so I was like, oh, maybe that'll salvage the movie. I even went that route before audibling it, and Lloyd was just doing a bit the entire time, and not the insight, no insight whatsoever, just doing a constant bit throughout it. And I was like, okay, I think I'm good here. So we've audibled to, and I landed on this because it was on the list of like, when you look up the best trauma movies, Citizen Toxie is usually in that list. And it's often, you know, it's like, because the thing with Citizen Toxie, which I didn't realize, was it is pulled the old Halloween, the new Halloween 2018 on us. He gets rid of the first two sequels, parts 2 and 3. Yes. And then this is technically Toxic Avenger 2. There was no reason to do that.
There was not.
There's absolutely zero reason to do that.
He apologizes for 2 and 3, saying they were terrible. And then he comes with this. You know, it's like, what are you doing?
They recap the first movie, and then Stan Lee, of all people, who is credited as Peter Parker,
narrating
by the way. Credited as Peter Parker in the credits. He narrates this intro and outro, and he gives us a full recap of the first movie, and then says, then 2 rotten sequels were made. Sorry about that. This is the real sequel. Dude, what a setup for like...
Agreed.
Especially for you and I don't think we're like the biggest true Troma fan. Like, I don't want to say true, but like new Troma, like we're not the biggest fans of that. Like, we love the old stuff and Toxic Avenger. So I was so amped. I was like, yes, like, okay, this is the right one. We chose the right one. We didn't though. That's the fucking problem here.
So I've seen this before. Okay. Our buddy Amato, who we talk about often, he got this when it first came out. And I would even say that I was in that belief when I first saw it. Like, I remember thinking fondly of it. Like, this was a good Toxic Avenger sequel.
A return to form.
Like a real Troma-esque movie, which it is. It's a very Troma-esque movie. I think after 36 years, I've finally matured, because there's nothing in this that I honestly even remotely enjoyed. Oh. Like, and for honestly the first time in my life, and I mean that, the first time in my life, I've been like, this is like too poor taste for me. The first 20 minutes, and like, people that know me, like, I don't get offended by anything. Like, do whatever, but like the first 20 minutes was honestly literally the most offensive shit I've ever seen on a film.
For sure, the most offensive shit of all time. Absolutely nuts. And like you said, like, I get it, and I get certain things, but this just wasn't it. And like this 2000s Troma is just like, oh, it's like, woof, man. Like, what the fuck is
that's the thing. 2000s Troma, it just felt... So, like, the first Toxic Avenger, right? It's a legitimate story. And, like, somehow it's also a social commentary, which is nuts. So is Nukem High, right? And they're always over the top, but it's like, I feel like Lloyd hit a lull, and he was like, I have to return to form and go as over the top as humanly possible. Which he did in Terra Firma, which I like Terra Firma. And which he did here. I don't want to shame anybody for liking this, because you like what you like, and like you know what you're going to get out of a Troma film, right? It's going to be stupid and ridiculous. It just, at this point in my life, like, I'm too fucking old to be watching this. And also thinking about how old Lloyd was when he made this, like, go fuck yourself. Are you kidding me? If it was like a 17-year-old, I'd be like, okay, I get it. Like, you're trying to be edgy. Imagine my fucking dad making Citizen Toxie. I'd be so embarrassed.
I actually watched the entire behind the scenes. So here's what I'm going to say. First, let's talk about this. Would you recommend this? People watch this?
No, I wouldn't.
I absolutely, like, just from the sense of a legal standpoint, legal liability, do not watch this. I can't have that blood on my hands. This I would not recommend it. Okay. But, how do I say this? I think I watched the behind the scenes movie, which is somehow 2 hours and 15 minutes.
That's nuts.
Much like Terra Firma, the behind the scenes movie blows away the real movie. It's so interesting to watch Lloyd and this crew of misfits make these movies. It sucks that the movie is such offensive dog shit that it's hard for me to say watch this movie, because like you kind of have to watch the movie and then watch the behind the scenes movie, which was called Apocalypse Soon. I think was the title. And I have some insight into that, but like, man, this guy Lloyd is just like such a fucking weird dude. But again, like, you watch him on the set and like he is like kind of an asshole because you have to be, but like he's also very like nurturing to these people, and like it's bizarre. It's absolutely fucking bizarre. And oh, there's so much to talk about in this, like from behind the scenes standpoint, which is probably what I'll be focusing on because the movie is like.
Well, how do you talk about this? How do you talk about this movie?
Dude, and I think that's the problem with Ultraman. Like Tales from the Crapper, could we have done a movie on, but like, or a show on, I guess, but it wouldn't have been very good because it's so fucking ridiculous. It's so fucking ridiculous. You can't.
You know what I think I liked the most when I watched it for the first time in the early 2000s?
Mm-hmm.
Was the cameos that he got in.
Sure.
And still rewatching it, because I remember some of them, and rewatching it now, it's kind of impressive to get that many people to be in Citizen Toxie.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And there were some, like, I'm not going to be, I'll be honest, I'm not going to be totally down on it. Like, there were some scenes that were laugh out loud funny, and some that Tina would, like, walk into the room to and be like, why are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
I've never been more excited to get back to, like, just weird, shitty horror movies. Like, I've never been more excited to, like, not do trauma movies. It's, like, really crazy. Like, I'm actually, like, super excited about next week doing Turkey Shoot. Like, I'm like, oh, yeah. Like, I forgot. They're not this. They're not all this.
Yeah, this is the shortest Trovember we've done, but I'm eternally grateful for it to be the last.
Yeah. Before the film premiered, they decided to leave. They made a decision to leave the World Trade Centers in the opening narration, despite the 9/11 attacks having taken place a month prior. The audience at the premiere, standing ovation. And I only brought that up because you were watching The Sopranos, and you're like, I wonder if they're going to take the World Trade Center out, because they show it in that. They show a clip of it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm too stupid to have noticed or paid attention. So
it's in the opening credit. Yeah.
Let Joe find out.
I just want to know where.
Don't
a standing ovation. The fucking premiere was at his like parents' house, right? With the cast.
Director Joe Lynch, who has gone on to I guess some level of fame. Isn't he the guy that hangs out? He's the guy that hangs out with that other fucking guy constantly. What's his name? Adam Green. Him and Adam Green are like buddies, right? He was working.
Joe Lynch.
Yeah. So he's like worked on like Holliston and Hatchet movies with Adam.
Oh, he did. Yeah, he did Wrong Turn too.
Yeah. He was at
he directed music videos, and the first group listed. I'm on his Wikipedia page. It says he's directed music videos for such groups as DVDA is the first group listed. You remember that?
That's amazing. Wait, oh my God, that's Trey Parker's band, right?
Yeah, double vag, double anal.
Yeah.
And then after it is like Faith No More, 311, like legitimate bands, and the first one is DVDA.
Hey, you got to start somewhere. Also, probably the best shoot for sure. Like that's got to be the best video to work on.
Yeah.
But he lost his job before the movie went into production. Lynch, though, had suggested that Gore frontman Dave Brockie should play Toxie, and that was the plan. But Dave Brockie was on probation and was unable to leave his home to start the film shoot. How fucking great would that have been, though, man?
Brockie would have been great. I mean, he essentially was the Toxic Avenger. Also, my mind is blown. Like, I follow Joe Lynch on Letterboxd because he did Mayhem, and he's pretty active on that. He did Chillerama. That's fucking nuts that he directed Citizen Toxie.
No, he didn't direct it. They just cite him as director Joe Lynch. He was just involved in it. Okay. I'm sorry. He was in the development of the script. He was working there, and then he got fired.
Getting fired from Citizen Toxie. So Lloyd actually directed it, right?
Yes, Lloyd directed it for sure. Yep. But Brockie, I could not figure out what he had been arrested for in the year 2000. He got arrested in the 90s. I remember that, but like, I could not find anything where he'd be on house arrest in the 2000s, but who the fuck knows, man? Guy was a wild guy. I love him. I'm so grateful to have seen him live.
Same, man. We've told this story 100 times, but that guy that we thought wanted to fight us the whole time,
Oh yeah.
he was separated by a fence, and we're like, this guy, like, why is he just mean mugging us, just like singling us out, just following us no matter where we move to? And then he finally climbed over the fence, like we're ready to, like, pummel the shit out of him because he's just been mean mugging us, and all he wanted to do is give us like a high five and a hug for some reason. Like, fucking weirdo.
He was so excited to see us. He was like genuinely like, these guys rock. What the fuck?
He was so old too. mid 50s.
Dave Brockie has the most insane gravesite I've ever seen in my life. Have you seen it?
I don't recall if I have.
Oh my god, it's a giant fucking like war sword. Like on a giant too. This is insane. This is actually insane that he had this made. Fucking check that out sometime. That's fucking wild. Definitely.
I miss Dave, man. Dude, them doing Christmas carols.
Oh my god.
Dave would have been perfect for Trauma because he's just a walking, talking Trauma character.
He absolutely is. Actually, the fact that them and Trauma didn't
jizz all over.
Dude, didn't make just a Gore movie, like that probably would have helped Trauma immensely if they teamed up with Gore.
Yeah. Fuck, missed opportunity.
Truly.
Lloyd should have been involved with Phallus in Wonderland.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Actually, one of our fans, Bananas. I forget her real name. I'm sorry. She just went and saw Gore. I saw her stories and I was like, oh man, that looks so much fun. But like, I don't want to be that guy. It's like, I don't want to see him without Dave, but like, I would definitely be bummed out. I do like the new frontman though, but like, I'll be bummed.
I do too, and I agree with you completely. Like they've come around, and I drag my feet because it just
same.
Feel the same.
It's not, but anyway. So that would have been cool. There are only 2 females in this cast who do not do nude scenes. That's another fact I got here. That's cool. And then the guy that you see who leads the diaper mafia, who will be introduced to shortly. That guy in the behind the scenes, in the opening of the behind the scenes, they're interviewing him. He's in full costume in the diaper mafia costume, which is a bonnet and a diaper and a t-shirt and like absurd makeup, of course. They're like, "Hey man, how's the first day of shooting?" And he's like, "Fucking terrible." And they're like, "Oh, why?" And he's like, "I just found out I'm the assistant director also." On scene, dressed to act, and then you find out you're the assistant director. Fucking ridiculous. It's such a mess, and I'll be chiming in with those little tidbits as we go. So, you ready to talk about this fucking thing, or do we have anything else to talk about in preparation for it? Oh, I do have one thing to say. Just like, I know we said we don't watch it, but like, also if you do decide to watch it, because like you're like me and Joe, and when somebody's like, "Don't do that," you immediately seek it. You immediately seek it out. I'm just gonna say it is honestly like one of the most offensive things I've ever seen in my life. Like the opening scene, you're like, okay, this scene will end, and then eventually we'll get to like trauma business, and it's just.
I don't think it would have been as bad if it was just 5 minutes, but it's literally the first 20 minutes.
First fucking 20 minutes, and then after that, it's like you're like, oh, we're in the clear, and then no, we're not. We're gonna show something else absolutely fucking insane. And unnecessary, completely unnecessary, not necessary at all to the story or the plot, which is minimal. So,
which speaking of story and plot, he's trying to do like interdimensional beings, which is pretty crazy for the year 2000.
Yeah,
nobody was doing this shit. But it's such a whatever. It's such a trauma mess. We were going to talk about something about.
Oh, I have that note
talk
here.
about Psycho Gorman.
Yes, so Joe just watched Psycho Gorman for the first time. I had seen it. So in our Patreon episode, we were kind of talking about it, and I said, what did I say? Basically, like, would you like Trauma more if it was like Psycho Gorman? Because Psycho Gorman is kind of Trauma light in a way.
It is. And I told you to make note of that because I had something to say. I don't know what I was going to add to that.
So would you like Trauma more if it were toned down to Psycho Gorman's level?
When I first started watching Trauma, no.
Yeah.
So I think that's what attracted me to Trauma,
right,
was the over-the-topness. Now, yeah, I would have much rather sat through a movie. I mean, Trauma has the uncanny ability to make like excess boring. You know, I've never in my life been sick of seeing boobs, but then Trauma, seeing boobs is like always a welcome experience. And then Trauma has the ability to be like, okay, I fucking get it. Like, I don't want to see anymore. Like, just tell me a story. Like, wrap this up and move this story along. For fuck's sake.
I agree completely. It's just right. It's that whole mentality of like, you know, if you got it all the time, like you get fucking bored of it. Like, it's just like, what is this? And with Tales from the Crapper, you know, the excess, like they literally had boner vision, which was just a little screen in the corner with naked people in it. And I was like, I don't want to fucking watch this movie anymore. What the fuck is this? Like, this is psychotic. Like, this is not a movie.
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement.
So,
but I think that was the appeal when I was 17.
Well, sure,
you don't have access to that every day.
We didn't even have access to pornography, so like this was like, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So the times were different. So to answer the question, it's yes and no.
Yeah.
It's if I was right now in 17, maybe I would rather it be toned down because you can see that at the Google search. Like, you don't need to sit through a 2-hour movie to see it.
But even still, you know, I'll go a little bit on this. I think maybe so. I would say probably not Psycho Gorman's level, but there was something appealing about those 80s Trauma movies where it wasn't, I mean, it was excessive, but it wasn't as bad, right? And like, I mean, like, think about it. Like, Return of the Living Dead did it for me when I was a youth. That's all I needed. That's really all I needed was just the fact that there was like a full frontal. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, for sure.
So like, even Trauma doesn't even need to go that route. Like, dude, we'll just go watch porn if we want to, right? Like, so yes. Even in a time when porn wasn't available, like, that's all we didn't need much. It was great regardless.
Right. And it works with the first one. Like, I don't even remember. It's been a while since I've seen the first Toxic Avenger, so I don't remember if the gratuitous nudity was like that or like Nukem High level. But what worked for Toxic Avenger was it told the story, and we knew Melvin was such a dweeb. Yeah. And Toxic Avenger's voice is one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my life. Like, such a grotesque, disgusting being. He talks like such a dweeb, and that's always been like the appeal to me. Is how funny the story is.
For sure,
it's not really needed to do all this.
No, it's not. And really, I like you're saying, I remember watching Toxic Avenger when I was young, and I don't think that it had the gratuitous nudity.
I don't remember it.
I genuinely don't think there was, because I just remember though that Toxie's girlfriend or wife, I forget what she is in the first one, but I just remember that was enough for me. And I remember her not being naked. I remember that vividly. But I was just like, holy cow.
Yeah, because she's blind in the first one too. Right. She doesn't know what he looks like.
Which is a great fucking bit, by the way. Like, that's the funniest. Dude. It's just a bummer. Just a fucking bummer.
Making Toxic Avenger into a kid's cartoon.
Dude, I was going to say that. Fuck, I'm so glad you brought that up. That is the most insane shit of all time. Somebody trusted fucking Lloyd to fucking translate this into a children's fucking cartoon. Makes no sense.
Which is crazy because kids are going to want to, like,
right.
I remember seeing the Ghostbusters cartoon before I watched the Ghostbusters movie.
Yep.
And I was very interested in watching the Ghostbusters movie because of the cartoon. So if you're watching Toxic Avenger cartoon on Saturday mornings, you're going to want to seek out the first Toxic Avenger.
And dude, back
Toxic Avenger, Mattel Toys, the Ninja Turtle brand.
Dude, and back then, like, our parents didn't have the internet to be like, wait, let me check out what the Toxic Avenger is. Like, okay, I know it's based on the Toxic Avenger. Let me Google it to see if it's appropriate. Like, you just went to the movie.
Yeah, you didn't have that option.
You just went to the video store and rented it.
Other parents. Yeah. No way you could ask other parents because no other parent ever watched fucking Toxic Avenger or knew anything about trauma.
Fucking crazy, dude. Actually, in the behind the scenes, Lloyd is approached by two children while he's directing in the streets of Albany, New York. And the kids are like, we want to direct a movie too. And Lloyd's like, have you seen any trauma movies? And they're like, no. And he's like, well, they're a little raunchy. Lloyd, fucking, that's insane to say. Like, don't even, like, just be like, you can't watch them. A little raunchy? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, be horrified if I found out James saw this fucking movie.
And again, I want to clarify because I know people get mad. Like, all I can think of is Amityville 2 guy.
Yeah.
Like, these guys. I get it, man.
Yeah,
I
sure.
At one time like this. If you still like it, I fucking get it. It's just this time around, I think I've grown out of that phase. But again, if you like it, more power to you.
And again, like, I think I still respect it. I still respect, like, trauma. Dude, I signed up for the stupid Trauma Now.
I respect trauma.
I signed up for the stupid Trauma Now video service to watch the fucking behind the scenes movie because I couldn't find it anywhere. And like, there's something about like that crew and people that love those movies that I'm just like, yeah, fuck it. Like, I don't know. Like, I kind of get it. Like, they're doing like Lloyd is like, he's just throwing bad money out on this. Like, it's just crazy. Like, I respect it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I respect that Lloyd does whatever the fuck he wants, regardless of how fucking idiotic and stupid it is.
Yes, he does. And you can't take away from Lloyd. He's incredible at like special effects for the budget that he has. The gore that he has, even in this, there's no need for the gore to be that good.
It's insane. It's fucking insane. But at the same time, like, I'm watching the behind the scenes, and Lloyd in the beginning has script revisions that he's like yelling at somebody to like be like, why haven't the script revisions been added? It's like, look, what are you revising in this fucking script that is so fucking necessary? Like, get the fuck out of here. Script revisions? Like, I was shocked. I was fucking baffled. And he's like yelling at this like poor girl. Well, he's not. He's actually like really good with her, and he's like explaining it to her, but he is fucking visibly annoyed. It gave me like the worst anxiety attack because he's just like, use the pink pages. And she's like, I don't understand. Like, and he was like, oh God. He actually, he, there's moments where he reminds me of your dad, where it's just like this, like, he can be very like, okay, like, you have to do this, this, and this. And somebody's like, okay. But as soon as they're like, well, that doesn't make sense, then he's like, you fucking idiot. You fucking idiot. And there's actually interviews with the people that he's working with, and they're like, dude, he's so gloom and doom. And something that we quote your dad as saying all the time, they quoted him as saying, which is like, I came in this morning and he just said the whole thing's fucked and we're fucked and the movie's ruined. And the guy was like, it wasn't. It was all fine. He just like lost something. He's like,
also worth noting, if my dad was to write a movie, it would definitely have like boner vision.
Fucking boner vision. All right, let's get this fucking.
Did I ever tell you that like our whole childhood, my dad would say "bukkake" as like a cuss, like he would just like yell it out loud, like like, and of course, kids don't know what that means. I'm not even entirely sure he really knows what it means, but he would definitely use it as like a curse for most of our life. And it wasn't until, much older when, and it wasn't even like the first time I heard of what bukkake actually is that it registered. And then I remember like a grand reveal, like coming over me, like, holy shit, this is what my dad has fucking been saying.
That's so fucking crazy, dude.
Which is a lot. Like, how do you even hear about that pre-internet? Like, what would you possibly be doing to come across that?
I don't know, man. That's fucking wild. Bukkake. Oh, fuck. That's good. All right. So, as we said, we open with narration with Stan Lee, which is great. Anniversary of his death a couple days ago. R.I.P. Stan Lee.
Dude, can you imagine Stan Lee watching this? Dude, if he knew what he had just done, he would have been gone years prior.
Anybody in this movie that is like has any level of celebrity, I was shocked. Especially James Gunn. And I was like, okay. How can he be involved in this? And then Disney be like, that's fine.
Okay. Thank you. So James Gunn is playing Stephen Hawking.
Yes.
What was his name? Like Loogie Hawking?
Dude,
and
his name is insane.
Fucking Loogie Hawking. It's so immature. He is playing the part to the T, like he's overacting being Stephen Hawking. Remember when those guys tried to get him canceled, for James Gunn canceled from Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah.
Those two guys always complain about people trying to cancel people, and then they canceled James Gunn. Dude, all they had to do was just send Disney a fucking copy of this. and Disney would like do the E.T. Atari game for the first two Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, these don't exist. These never existed, and James Gunn is dead. Like, we have no more involvement.
Yeah, he played Dr. Flem Hawking.
That's it, Flem Hawking.
Lloyd is such a fucking idiot. He's such a simpleton. It's so crazy.
Those two guys from ESPN were the news anchors, the most unnecessary news anchors. I've never seen a more budget like news anchor studio than when those two guys were on the screen.
Yeah, it's the Sklar brothers.
Yeah.
Who are something else. They're in this and they're in Tales from the Crapper playing the same newscasters.
Dude, to have like a good career after that, it's honestly incredible.
It is the most insane thing because like you must be showing people you're real and being like,
yeah, you have to have a resume, and if those are the only two things on your resume, it has to come up. Somebody has to check it out.
Oh man, it's so fucking wild. Yeah, fucking nuts. The school. So we open up. They give us a recap of the first, and then we show a new special needs school, the Trauma School for the Very Special, which is the most insane and over the top shit that you'll ever see. Also, bizarrely, filmed at an actual school for people with special needs.
That's fucking nuts.
That is nuts. And they were like, we have to be kind of careful.
Well, spoiler alert, they fucking weren't. And I don't know. I don't find it to be funny. So.
No,
I have nothing to really say about it. I don't know why.
It's not funny. And if I'm laughing, it's more because of just the idea.
The audacity of it. The audacity of it.
Right. That's what I'm more laughing.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I don't find the bit, or like, I don't think it's comedic to do that, especially for 20 minutes. Like, you have to kind of chuckle at the fact that like, who greenlit? Like, why would an adult think that was okay? I don't know.
It's nuts. And I do want to say, there was one other thing I wanted to point out, like, before we started this, which was, one of the biggest compliments we get, and to me it's the biggest compliment, is people being like, you guys are open and accepting of everyone. Like, we recently got a bunch of messages recently for some reason. I don't know what we did, but where people were just like, no, like, I stopped, like, there's so many horror podcasts, but they're all fucking weird. And I was like, I asked them, like, I was like, what do you mean? Like, and they were like, they say the craziest, weirdest, like, sexist, racist shit. And I was like, that's fucking crazy to me. But, like, I don't know. So we get, like, a ton of emails about people being like, wow, it's, like, so nice to hear people that aren't that way. And I was like, I feel like that should be most people, but I guess it's fucking not. It's not that hard. It's not like we go out of our way to be that way, but yeah. So I appreciate that. So we're gonna try and like navigate this fucking movie, which is just insane. So like, if I do laugh, I'm not laughing at the bits for the most part. It's just like,
yeah, no,
it's fucking nuts that this is made. I can't.
I'm with
this
you.
is on film.
I'm with you. To say what you saw out loud, it's more like a nervous tick. And again, I'll play like both sides. Like, I don't shame you if you find that funny. Right. Like, I just personally don't find it funny. I get Lloyd's trying to be as over the top as possible.
Yeah.
And I even texted you. I was like, he's still like doing a social commentary. It's just the most idiotic way to do it. And it's just, I don't know.
It's so weird. It's so fucking necessary. Yeah. So the school though gets invaded by a bunch of men dressed as babies. But they have the biggest assault weapons I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's absolutely crazy. And they start beating up the kids, and including the teacher. Dude, one of the girls in the class is getting her head smacked. By the way, they're played by adults, so they're not children, by the way. Yeah. But one of the students is getting her head smashed in by these enormous fucking breasts. That scene was crazy. And in the behind the scenes, they actually interviewed that woman, and she was like, in the script, like, I was like, that's funny, like a woman attacking me with her breasts. And she's like, but they fucking hurt. She's like, I have a fucking splitting headache after that scene. She's like, dude, her breasts are fucking enormous. And then they interview the woman who played that, and I think she was a famous porn star. And this is when you should have known, because this is the first day of filming, was like when they filmed this. And this woman was like, I'm on porn sets, and this is the most unprofessional shit I've ever seen in my life. She's like, I'm fucking gone after today. I'm not doing this anymore. Like, this is fucking crazy. Because, dude, they like their camera broke, and that's the only camera they had there. And I guess they refused to use the camera that was filming the fucking behind the scenes. Because they would, well,
so that's the thing, because you watched behind the scenes when we did Poultrygeist.
Yeah.
Way back. And I don't know, like, Lloyd is good at kayfabe. Like, Lloyd could write for WWE. How much of that is truthful? How much of it is scripted?
Oh, the behind the scenes?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know what the real Lloyd is, because he's writing this fucking piece of shit. But then you see him on set, and he's like the nicest guy in the world. Like, one of the women.
Well, we talked to Lloyd. Yeah. I don't know, because we talked to Lloyd, like, I don't know if these behind the scenes are just him, like, also scripted. Because I asked him a question, and his answer to me was about using a bathtub with Oliver Stone at the same time, and I don't know, like, there was no reason for him to add that tidbit in, and he seemed very authentic about the way that he answered me. To the point where I didn't want to follow up on it, because I felt like he believed what he just told me, and I don't know where to stand on that. So I don't know if he's just perpetually fucking with people. So
I mean,
those behind the scenes might be scripted.
It's very possible. I mean, but he does get like fucking fiery and like pissed off. But he is like, there's other moments where he's just like really nice to these people, and maybe, I don't know.
He told us in person that he gets upset every time a Troma movie doesn't blow up to like the level Toxic Avenger did. And Lloyd's smart enough to make these movies and to make money off these movies, period. There's no way he expects that. So I just think he's constantly fucking with you. I don't think he truly believes that.
I mean, I tend to agree. He in the back behind the scenes, he claims he has 160 IQ. He also in the behind the scenes was like, I think that this is going to put us over the top and get us an Emmy nomination or a Oscar nomination.
Yeah, okay. He's fucking with you.
But it's so nuts. It's so nuts. But which is true? Does he actually have the 160 IQ and fucking with everyone? Or does he just believe?
Neither is true. Absolutely neither.
Oh my God, that's the best. And again, like there are moments that are fucking funny. Like we go to the newscast who's like, we interrupt our coverage of the Smithville home of the elderly massacre to bring you this report. And it's the report on the diaper mafia as we find out that they're named.
This is also nuts because this was filmed just 2 years after Columbine, right? And
yeah,
the trenchcoat mafia was a thing for a while in the media, you know? People were in fear of it, even though it didn't really exist.
It didn't exist. And they kind of shit on, what I liked was them being like, who's at fault here? And they like, oh, video games, movies. They like go through it and they're like, but it's not the news. We show violence because it's good. It's good for you to see.
Dude, I liked that line.
Yeah.
It stood out to me. And that's kind of what I was saying before. Like, he's still doing a social commentary. I just don't know. I mean, I get it. He's trying to be over the top as possible and prove his point, but also it's Toxic Avenger 4. Know your fucking setting, Lloyd.
And like you see the news crew outside. We see Lemmy. The news crews are carrying cardboard cameras. Like they didn't even in cardboard microphones. They didn't even have a budget for that. And the cardboard cameras say poop on them.
They do.
I've never in my
clean
life
shaven Lemmy too, which is
somebody. If you look on IMDb, it's like Lemmy can be seen in a scene. Dude, Lemmy is in like 7 scenes, just randomly standing there.
Yeah, he has multiple scenes with speaking lines.
And they're all just close-ups of his face. So I just imagine they just filmed him for a day, just zoomed in on his face, and then just randomly cut to it whenever they want. Because there's a random moment later where Lemmy's in a suit, and they just cut to his face, and he's like, "Whoa?" And it's like that he was not involved in it. And he's playing, I think, a different character in that moment. But yeah, that's that. And the violence in this scene is absolutely nuts. Like the diaper mafia is fucking crazy, and they have these fucking guns, and they're like killing people. Oh my God, it's absolutely brutal. We meet Mayor Goldberg, played by Ron Jeremy. He'll kind of be a factor in later. And then they invite a newswoman in a bikini in to film them killing a pregnant teacher. And I was genuinely fucking worried in this scene, Joe. I was petrified. I was like frozen because it appeared they were going to fucking kill the fucking pregnant lady's baby.
I mean, nothing is off limits to him. So,
and that's what was so fucking scary about it. And I was like, oh, fucking God. But thankfully, the woman in the bikini transforms. She's just the Toxic Avenger in disguise. And he stops them from killing him. And when he stops him, he also we watch this guy shit him. He's like Toxic Avenger, and we have to watch this guy shit in his diaper, and shit's falling out of his diaper, and then his diaper falls off, and fucking Toxie smears it all over his face. Fucking madness, dude. Fucking madness. Now, one of the weird things in this scene is there's a lot of like gun special effects. And recently in the news was that Rust shoot with Alec Baldwin, right? Fucking tragic, fucking terrible.
Yep.
The behind the scenes of this honestly, if I were involved in anything in the courts with this, I would pull up the behind the scenes of this, because I've never seen a group of people more incapable of handling weapons and being allowed to handle weapons. But this dude that was like, it's like a whole talking point in the behind the scenes. Like, oh, this is what reminded me of him of your dad, was they interview one of the guys and they're like, fucking Lloyd makes us hire his fucking friends and they're so expensive and so fucking stupid and they don't know what they're doing. And I was like, oh my God, that's fucking all the guys Joe's dad makes Joe hire. He's like, they're all old. They're all fucking dumb. So Lloyd makes them hire, obviously, a person that handles firearms. But this dude was like, I mean, he was an idiot, but he was also like, we do this fucking safely. Like, he had everyone shitting their pants about, like, he was like, you could fucking die. Like, you have to do this safely. Like, and I was just like, because the shit that's coming out about the Rust set sounds like they just picked up weapons and just started using them, which is fucking nuts. Like, this guy, like, came in and supervised the entire thing.
Which is alarming in a Troma movie.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, the fact that Troma did it, and by the way, it was like, they said it was like a massive chunk of their budget to do this.
I respect that.
Yeah, dude, like, and honestly, throughout the movie, it's honestly the most mad Lloyd gets is when safety shit happens. And he's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, he's like, this is like, no one dies here. Like, dude, there's the scene where they're outside of the school on the steps. Lloyd is running around screaming at people because one person walked by, like a citizen walked by and walked down the steps of the set. And he's like, are you fucking kidding me? Somebody could fucking die. What if she had a baby in her hands and tripped and the baby died because she tripped on your cables? And everyone's like, well, like, we didn't mean to. He's like, yeah, well, I'm going to fire everyone if that happens again. It happens like 6 more times, by the way. And every time he's like, God damn it. He's like, when somebody carrying a baby falls, you're going to all be sorry.
What the fuck is wrong with Lloyd?
I don't know. Again, is that a bit? I have no fucking idea.
It has to be.
Oh, man. But yeah, like this scene, they use like an M60 and it was firing blanks, and they had this guy that was like, no, like, don't, like, this is not a fucking game. Like, what the fuck? And all I could think about was that fucking Rust set, because it sounds like there was like basically no one monitoring anything whatsoever. And this is fucking Troma. Fucking idiots.
That's wild.
Yeah. Dude, the people they're giving the guns to is even the even crazier part, right? Like, no, they're not even actors. Right?
That's a good point. That crew
is not even actors, and they gave them all fucking guns with fucking blanks in it. And it's like, dude, like not even professionals. So like they all look so confused. Like, and it's like, dude, fucking nuts. So Toxie shows up, smears this guy with a diaper, and then we also meet Toxie's ward, Lardass, played by the incomparable Joe Fleischicker. I don't know how to pronounce it totally.
He's in all those Troma movies, right?
All the Troma movies. He passed, R.I.P. But and he did this all on his vacation time. He filmed this. And just complained to Lloyd in the behind the scenes the whole time, being like, I'm using my vacation time. And Lloyd was like, I don't give a shit.
I mean, I was going to say he's not really in the movie, but I forgot he has a doppelganger.
Yeah, he has a doppelganger. Yeah, Chester. Lardass and Chester.
Lardass's weapon of choice is a baguette. That's funny as hell. Dude, even more disgusting than the shit being smeared on the guy's face is Lardass eating the peanut butter, which is real peanut butter, and I like peanut butter. Like I like peanut butter a lot, and that made me never want to eat peanut butter ever again.
Yo, Lardass rubs the bomb. Ooh, in the next scene, the diaper mafia brings a bomb. Lardass covers the bomb, and you're just watching him smear peanut butter all over the bomb for like a couple minutes, and you're like, dude, like what the fuck is happening? And then he fucking eats the bomb.
Which does nothing because it still explodes and blows up the building. But it's all over Lardass's face, like
oh my god,
thick peanut butter all over his lip.
Now one of the best scenes of all time in movie history, though, is in this movie, which is Toxie basically pile driving someone. Which, if you're not familiar with professional wrestling, you pick them up, you spin them upside down so their head is facing the ground. And then you essentially slam them on their head, right? On the top of their head. He does that to one of the diaper mafia, and the guy's head shoots out his fucking ass. But he's still able to talk, and then Toxie punches the head off his, I don't even know, off his ass. Most insane. Like, how do they have the money for those effects?
It's nuts. It's nuts what he's able to do.
And especially because, like, now you hear people like, it's like CGI and people are like practical effects. And it's like, oh, well, practical effects are too expensive. And it's like, how are they able to do this? And then Toxie fucking kills the leader of the gang, Tex Diaper, as he's known. And he starts ripping out his fucking organs, like it's fucking brutal. And so
gross. It's gross.
Finally, Lardass is like, "Hey, Toxie, if his heart stops, the bomb goes off." And he's like, "Oh," he starts shoving the organs back into his body. Dude, like there's great scenes like that are like so reminiscent of like the trauma, like old trauma, and it just like. Those moments are just so overshadowed by the bullshit. And you could have just made this so fun, right?
You could have. I mean, I'm honestly laughing more now at it
right.
than I was when I watched the movie because it's so over the top to think about.
And we're highlighting the best parts. By the way, this movie is almost 2 hours long, which...
Sean, I distinctly remember the 47-minute mark and then realizing there was an hour left. What is this guy... trying to do? What could possibly be left to move this story along that would take another 60 minutes?
If you look on YouTube, there's actually deleted scenes from this, and I was like,
that's nuts.
Okay, so that was my thought. But I was like, oh, I bet you me and Joe are watching the like director's cut, right? Where those are put back in. So I clicked it to see they are cut fucking scenes, dude. This movie is almost 2 hours long. And they cut shit. They actually cut shit out.
That's insanity.
Absolutely appalling is what it is. Absolutely appalling. 2 fucking hours? Are you fucking kidding me?
Well, it goes back to what we were saying before. They just have this ability to like beat a dead horse of extreme, right? It's just a dead horse of extreme. So after the first 30 minutes, like, all right, I fucking get it. Let's just do something.
Oh, man. Also, that bomb we discussed earlier, it had a 5-second countdown on it, which was another great bit because so much shit happens. Toxie, it's a 5-second, it's like the bomb goes, he pulls out his organs, the bomb countdown goes off, and it starts at 5 seconds. And Toxie's like, oh shit. Toxie goes to get a mop. He doesn't have his mop with him. So he goes to get a mop where we see a scene where it's basically a drug intervention. He also returns, comes back, smashes a guy's fucking skull open between 2 books in fucking vile. Absolutely fucking vile. And then during this 5 seconds, he also is like, oh shit, it's time to go impregnate my wife. Which he pulls out a pocket watch. It just says impregnate wife on it. So he goes home. He has sex with his wife. He has a fucking orgasm, which is the most unnecessary thing I've ever seen in my life. Fucking barfing green foam. Fucking disgusting.
Odorous should have been Toxie.
Absolutely. Also, during the making of this scene, Lloyd is talking to both actors and says, I want this to be the most erotic scene that we've ever filmed.
Okay. You say no more. This is all a bit now. I'm totally convinced.
The most erotic scene. And then, by the way, they have sex. Toxie gets into a fight with his wife about who he's spending time with. They spending too much time with lard-ass fighting crime. Goes back to the school to save the kids, and the countdown is now at 3 or 2, I think. 3 or 2. It was at 5 seconds. 5 seconds. And then lard-ass smears the peanut butter on the bomb and eats it, and then starts farting smoke.
Farting smoke. Which I thought that would be a good bit, right? He swallows the bomb and just farts in it,
yeah.
But he still blows up, and so does the entire building.
Oh my god. And then Toxie comes out of the building and the police start shooting at him, which seems bizarre. Toxie just saved some of
one of the cops is Sergeant Theodore Kaczynski, and one has a Hitler mustache.
And Toxie is like, what the fuck? So he runs away, and then he's picked up by a weird version of Kabuki Man, who's a little different looking than we've seen, and he's calling him Noxie. Not Toxie, Noxie. And then we go back to the school, and Noxie comes out, who is Toxic Avenger, but just in a black outfit, and like a disgusting little like toupee of hair on his head. And he's getting cheered. And while he's getting cheered, he rips the cop's arms off, beats the shit out of, and kills all of the residents. Dude, he picks up a little girl who's like, Toxie, I love you, and throws her against a brick wall, which was like the funniest shit I've ever seen.
And it also they mention that again. Ron Jeremy mentions that again.
Yeah. And then we cut to the news. He says, coming up at 11, Toxie kills virtually everyone in Trovember, which was fucking funny. So basically what we have here is a split universe. The explosion from Lardass's ass has caused a rift in 2 universes. Tromaville and Amortville, which is Troma backwards. Have somehow split and sent Toxies to 2 different universes, the Troma universe and the Amort universe. So Noxie's from the Amort universe where Toxie's a bad guy, and you get the idea. Anyway,
bizarro world.
Yeah, Lemmy somehow shows up again in a different outfit just to be like, what? Meanwhile, real Toxie is with bad Kabuki Man, and they run over this old lady's fucking head. And one of the most fucking vile scenes I've ever seen, because she's like spraying out piss and shit, and like, dude, I've never seen anything like that in my life. Like, what the, like, people talk about, what is it, a Serbian film?
Yeah.
Like, this shit's gross, dude. Like, this shit is fucking disgusting. You could say it's more fake or whatever, although, I don't know. This grandma being run over and spraying out shit and pit. Like, dude, it's like a close-up of her fucking crotch, and it's just like spraying out from underneath her dress. Like, come on. What?
Putting your hard-earned money into making this.
Right. Like, dude, okay, so that's like a great way of putting it, right? Like, so you're a big gambler. I gamble very little. And one of my things is just like, it's my money. Like, I don't want my money to disappear, right? Imagine sitting on the set and this is money from your wallet. Like, you're watching money from your wallet disappear for this scene. You know exactly how much that special effect costs. And you're like, money well spent.
A throwaway scene of a character that nobody knew before or after. Just watching her shit explode all over.
Absolutely fucking nuts. And we cut to James Gunn. Yes, director of Guardians of the Galaxy, James Gunn, doing his offensive Steve Hawking impression. And he explains exactly what we just talked about, the Tromaville and Mortville. James Gunn is then run over by a car that crashes through the fucking building. Fucking Joe, that was the scene where I laughed the hardest. I've never laughed. It was the most unexpected, unnecessary thing that's ever happened in a movie full of excess. Like, I was just like, why does this happen? And it goes back to your point of like money spent. Like, dude, they spent money to crash a car through a building
for a character that's explaining the plot to us that doesn't need to be there.
Not at all. Also, in that scene, that's a scene, dude, they almost killed like 3 people filming that scene, which is crazy that it wasn't the gun scene. And fucking Lloyd loses his fucking mind and is like, are you fucking kidding me? Because the guy that was supposed to drive the car and supposed to stop was, again, Lloyd's friend, a stuntman who Lloyd was like, this guy's the fucking best. And he was supposed to stop and like barely like come through the room. And he comes flying through the fucking room. Flying in. Dude, he ended up hitting like crew members. He hit a guy that was standing on a ladder who fell off a fucking 12-foot ladder. And was like, whoops, sometimes things go bad. He's like, I guess my sandbags didn't stop me. He put sandbags up. He thought that was going to stop a fucking car coming in at 100 miles an hour. And then Lloyd blamed it on him not hanging up a sign, the trauma safety sign up in the office. He was like, had that been here, this wouldn't have happened.
Sean. The more you say, the more I know that this is just a second movie.
Yeah. He said if we had the 3 rules of, I'm going to look it up and see 3 rules of trauma. I got to find it to see if they have it. Oh yeah. He's like, if the 3 rules of trauma had been hanging up, we would have, this would never have happened. Here's the 3 rules of a trauma production. 1, safety to humans. 2, safety to people's property. 3, make a good movie. And he claims if those had been hanging up, this wouldn't have happened. And like, again, like it's the most sincere thing. It's the most sincere thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's full of shit.
Worked himself into a shoot. Oh my God. In the parallel universe, Toxie comes out. Oh wait, nope. I'm backwards. I'm sorry. The diaper mafia is back though in good trauma, in good Toxie's dimension, which is the bad. And he's like kind of confused, but we get a great scene of ripping out a guy's tongue, which is nuts. And Toxie tries to go home, but it's not there. Not there. And he also learns he's a dad. And that's because he's been carrying around a lunch bag with his wife's piss in it and a pregnancy test in it. And he
gives it to people to eat because they're hungry. The
2 special needs students he's like been traveling with are eating it and drinking it, which yeah, I know. And he's like, wait a minute. And then he finds out he's gonna be a daddy. Toxie's gonna be a daddy. His wife is pregnant, which he's ecstatic about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you want to talk about unnecessary scenes. How about this mayor holding a press conference to introduce the new heroes to replace the now evil toxic Avenger?
A dolphin man.
So the vibrator. Don't forget the vibrator. A woman who just masturbates herself with a vibrator arm. Sexist? Absolutely. Until we find Master G and John Bader.
All right, so Master G, John Bader was when Tina walked in. She's like, "What are you watching?" I was like, "Oh, this isn't Toxie." So she sat down next to me, and this guy comes out, and he's a rapper, but he also his superpower is just masturbating. So he's just spraying cum all over these. He gives it's a press conference, and he's just jerking off, and he's just spraying cum all over these girls' faces in the front row. It's so unnecessary, and Tina's just like slowly turns and looks at me. What are you doing?
What is happening with your life?
But again, now that I know that they pitched for Odorous, that would have made sense. Bring Odorous out. Yeah. That's what he did at his concert.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, during that scene, all I could think about was my ex-girlfriend, who was like never super thrilled about the movies that I was watching, and if she had seen that, would have been like, "Fucking kidding me right now." Yeah, the origin story for this guy was he was Master G, a rapper, and John Bader, a pervert, were in an elevator and somehow got merged together and became, now, Master G and John Bader became the Masturbator. Imagine just explaining that. Just call him the Masturbator and bring him out. Like, thinking that thoroughly.
Right. A fucking origin story for this guy who doesn't even come back, right?
No, he's just
his
killed
role
twice
is to
in
come
both
out.
universes.
His sole purpose is to come out and jizz all over people.
You got Dolphin Man, who was fucking wild looking. You got the Mad Cow.
Yeah, and then it cuts to Lemmy, who's like, "What's next? An upright walking cow?" And they bring out the Mad Cow.
The Mad Cow boy, who is a play on the mad cow disease, which hadn't been seen like is in fucking 5 or 10 years. Yeah, and then Sergeant Kabuki Man, who's drunk and is defending Toxie. He's like, Toxie probably just had a bad day. Oh yeah. The next scene is, boy, maybe the most offensive thing in a movie, but I'm not even going to get into it. But Toxie basically attacks a racist person, right?
I honestly forgot. I forgot about this.
It's fucking unnecessary, and somehow just like keeps popping up in the rest of the movie, and you're just like, dude, I don't want to talk about this, but he attacks a racist who's committing a hate crime, which I guess bravo for that one thing. But the fact that this was, dude, and they're like, look, okay, so again, behind the scenes, they get a newspaper clipping that's like, town furious that Trauma is filming this scene in their town, which is fucking great that existed. But they're all like, oh, we don't understand. Why would this cause an issue? They literally filmed like a hate crime happening. Fucking insane. But then we meet Chester, who is lardass, but not lardass. Chester is in another dimension where Toxie is.
This bit is fucking funny because Toxie, like, that's what's frustrating because he doesn't need to do all that other stuff. Like,
Joe, that whole hate crime thing was one of the most unnecessary shit I've ever seen in my life.
It's just shocking to be shocking, right?
Right.
Which I'm sure that's what he was going for, but it does nothing for the story. And he keeps bringing it back up, just kind of like a, hey, remember when I did this? Which,
yeah, whatever.
But then this scene with Chester, that's fucking funny. Like, if the whole movie was like this, I would be 1,000% on board. Because Toxie sees Chester, who he thinks is lard ass, so he just keeps calling him lard ass, and Chester's like, "Hey, fuck you, guy! Like, why are you calling me that? Like, what's your problem?" And that's good. I like it.
And like, exactly, and like, it almost, this movie just shoots itself in the foot constantly with, because again, of course, it's not going to win an award anywhere for anything, even if you cut out the absurd shit, but
right.
Those scenes, like the fucking hate crime scene, change the, like, I'm not going to show this to fucking anyone. I would be mortified if anyone knew I watched this movie. I'm not going to show this. But had those scenes been removed or altered in a way, and it was still insane, right? You keep a ton of the insane scenes, just like the over-the-top offensive shit you got rid of. I would show this at a fucking party. I'd be like, you guys have to see this. Like, it's fucking insane. Like, it's going to make you fucking barf. Like...
Yes.
It's gross out. It's amazing, but you got to watch it. Like, it's so dumb. It's ridiculous. But I don't want, like, if you show this to somebody, they're going to be like, so
yeah,
what?
That's how I feel about Dead Alive, right? Peter Jackson's Dead Alive. Like, put that on at a party.
Yes.
Anytime someone walks into a room, they're going to be like, what the fuck are you watching? Exactly. Whereas if you put this on, they would probably and rightfully leave my house, right? Why? Any scene that they walk in, they're like, what the fuck? Who is this guy?
What are you doing? You're a dad, dude. Like, what the fuck?
Great point. Great point.
Oh my god. This Chester scene, though, as funny as it is, also contains some weird shit, which is Chester is a down on his luck astrophysicist who's now sucking dick for money. And he's married to Toxie's wife, who's not Toxie's wife in this universe. He's Lardass's wife. Now, one of the best lines in the movie is, though, from Chester, who, again, as I mentioned, what he does for income. Toxie's like, all right, I gotta go. And he's like, oh, my lips aren't sweet enough for your toxic testicle nectar. Lloyd Kaufman is in his, 60s at this point in this movie, during filming this movie. A 60-year-old man wrote that fucking line and was like, that stays. And we know that they made script revisions. So they read through it and they were like, that fucking stays for sure. Can't leave that line out. Oh my god. And then we learn that Toxie's girlfriend in this alternate world is deaf. She's not blind because it's like Bizarro world, right? And
right, which also Toxie is just waving his hand in front of her eyes repeatedly. We're in in the background of the scene, which I did think was funny to put that in there.
Oh yeah. And again, like, that's like kind of a funny bit, like going from the deaf blind. There's stuff to work with there. That's not like super offensive. And then like they just like make this poor girl being like, I hate being raped. And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, man.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do we have to go there? And like, that's her whole storyline. And she says it so many times. She's just like, I'm so sick of being raped. And it's like, I think it's supposed to be fucking funny. And I'm like, this is the saddest thing I've ever seen. But she's not, she was being abused by Noxie, right? Like, who is in the other universe. So that's so when Toxie shows up, she's nervous that that's going to happen, but that's not the case.
Right.
You'll notice a weird line here, which is because Toxie in his universe has now found Sarah, Toxie's wife, and he ties her up and he's going to have sex with her. And Noxie says to her, and it's like one of the weirdest lines in the fucking movie. There's a reason I'm bringing it up, but he says, I want to have your abortion, which is like, what the fuck? Dude, when he said it, I was like, what the fuck am I watching right now? So I'm like looking up facts about this movie or whatever. And I found this. After Noxie ties Sarah up, he says, I want to have your abortion. A small tribute to a line that got cut from Fight Club.
Is that true?
I have no fucking idea. Fight Club was made in 1999. How would they have that information?
Right.
This had to have been filmed in 99.
Yeah, I mean, unless it's from the book, I don't know.
But it was cut, dude. Like, come the fuck on! Like, I was like, who came up with this? I don't think that's a fact.
Yeah, the more we talk about it, the more I just feel old. I feel I'm too old for this shit. Like, this movie's just not for me.
I don't know if it's for anyone, honestly. in like 2021.
Dude, you'd be surprised. Letterboxd, a lot of people had rated it 4.5. People that follow people whose movies like we have like very similar ratings on.
That's funny. I mean, and like it's whatever. I get the appeal of like the gore and shit. The gore isn't insane, right? Like it is absolutely nuts. I don't know, but it is on those lists. Like I found it on. Sorry, I'm looking it up right now. I found it on lists like when I was like best trauma movies. So.
Well, that's something.
that is something. Let me see. Oh yeah, we got some. Oh wow, 5 stars. Wow. I want to say a name right now, but I can't. But that's a 4-star rating.
Can you tell me and beep it up?
If you remember that.
Wait.
Yeah.
Of course you didn't.
Oh, it's fucking funny. Anyway, we go back to Toxie, who kills Ron Jeremy while Ron Jeremy's praying. And then does Toxie become the mayor? I don't know. It's not really discussed, but in the news, they're like, Toxie kills mayor and takes control of the city. And I'm like, all right, I guess that's the way government works.
Dude, that's actually funny because that was always how like 90s TV shows made it work. Like you take over the mayor and you take over the town.
Yeah.
Dude, could you imagine if somebody did something to the mayor right now? I wouldn't even know who the mayor was in that town. Some super villain taking over the mayor's office. Okay. Knock yourself out.
Probably call the state police. Fucking mayor.
Like the National Guard wouldn't be the police.
Meanwhile, Toxie is back in his universe fighting Mad Cowboy and Sergeant Kabuki Man, who are not good guys. They're bad guys. It's unnecessary. Right. Then we get a scene in all black and white called Tramadoo. I didn't understand this reference. Do you understand it?
Tramadoo?
Yes. What this scene is, this black and white. It's like an old timey, and it's like, oh yeah, see, Toxie's in town.
No, I just thought it was an homage to like, the 40s film noir for some reason.
I mean, you're kind of right. It is an homage to the opening scene of Citizen Kane.
Citizen Toxie, of course.
Yes. So they were filmed at the Playboy Mansion, and Hugh Hefner was originally going to be in this bit.
That's nuts.
There's even a shot of him saying only the Toxic Avenger knows for sure in the original trailer. But when they were releasing the movie, Hefner's lawyers forced Troma to remove any and all depictions of him from advertisement or the film.
Hef got some good lawyers that like Hugh, you can't fucking do this.
By all accounts, Hefner himself was initially fine with being in the film, but his lawyers convinced him he was unfairly coerced into being in the movie. Because of this, during the special thanks to sequence in the final credits, there's a special no thanks to Hugh Hefner's lawyers credit. Yeah, Lloyd, that's all you needed to push this movie over the edge. Another old fucking pervert. Fucking, that's exactly what the movie needed. Anyway, Toxie murders fucking everyone. He kills all the heroes, except for Kabuki Man, who's drunk as hell. Kabuki Man goes into Toxie's old house. By the way, Kabuki Man is talking suddenly like fucking Conor McGregor in this scene. Did you pick up on that?
I did not.
Dude, he's saying fucking and like another word. And I was like, that's so fucking weird. And again, in the behind the scenes, Lloyd is like, he does the scene in a regular voice. And Lloyd's like, cut, you fucking idiot. And he's like, this. And then Lloyd starts doing the fucking Irish thing. And he's like, you gotta say fucking and shit. And I was like, wait, why did Lloyd choose that? That's so fucking bizarre. Kabuki Man shows up and is like, this fucking house. Like, and he goes in and you think he's gonna save Toxie's wife. Instead, he pulls his dick out, which has the Kabuki Man hair on it. And we get to see it. And he's pissing, and then he notices Toxie's wife tied up, and he's like, "Oh, I should save you." And then he falls asleep on top of her. This will come into play at the very end of the movie, in the least fucking awful way. Anyway,
well, are we at Chester's sex scene?
We are at Chester's fucking sex scene.
Okay.
Chester.
This is probably the most disgusting scene of the movie.
That is exactly what I have written down.
Which is also the second scene that Tina walked in on.
What a fucking nightmare. So this scene opens, I believe, with Chester filleting somebody. And spitting mayonnaise out of his mouth as he leaves. He's like, well, thanks for coming. And then he's reunited with his love, which is she goes by a different name in the alternate universe. I think Claire, I want to say. Not that it matters. It doesn't fucking matter. What am I saying? Like, fucking the fuck. Anyway, they're reunited and they have the most atrocious sex scene ever to be filmed.
Ever. Dude, I could smell it. Like, the smell of sex scene is repulsive. Dude, with a block of cheese.
When she's like, did you remember the cheese?
Dude, a block of cheddar cheese. It's just like licking it and then licking her foot and then going back. Honestly, making my mouth water right now. Dude. fucking gag.
But like, okay, back again to this. Fucking, like, this is like some just weird ass trauma shit that I'm fine with. You know, like, this is fine.
That I agree. Like, that's why I liked Terra Firma, because he had weirdo shit like that. Like when the guy shits his pants, he tastes it with a spoon to see if it's pudding.
Yeah,
it was stomach churning. But yes, I do like that aspect of trauma. All the other stuff to be offensive for the sake of being offensive, it just didn't.
Right, exactly. Like, give me this. Give me the cheese on the feet.
Yeah. This, like what you were saying before, you put that on at a party, somebody walk in, I would love to see reaction on people's faces for that.
For sure. There's not even nudity. She's not even nude. She's just like laying there, letting this guy rub cheese on her feet.
Rub cheese on her feet.
Yeah. After that scene, good news.
Thinking of that should be a crime. They even have that thought cross. Like, in this scene, I'm just going to get a block of cheese and rub it all over this girl's foot.
Like, what is that? What makes you think? Like, I thought that a lot in this movie, which was like, I was like, Lloyd is sitting at home behind a fucking typewriter or computer, and he's like, oh, this scene, she, like, rubbing cheese. Like, why the fuck would you even think of that? It's so fucking weird, dude. It's bizarre. But good news. Corey Feldman's here.
He is, and he's also acting his dick off. Dude, he is giving it his all.
But so here's my question: is he, or is he just an actual actor in a movie with non-actors?
All right, fair.
His name is Kinky Finkelstein. He's a gynecologist. He plays a gynecologist in this movie.
I mean that what you just said is a good point, because he's the only legitimate actor thus far.
Yes,
and he's like noticeably better than everyone else, because honestly, up to this point, Ron Jeremy of all people is probably the best actor in the film.
I was actually just about to say that because I'm looking at the cast list and I was like, oh, Ron Jeremy was actually not that bad also. And I was like, that's fucking nuts. That's fucking absolutely nuts to say. Corey Feldman and Ron Jeremy are the best in this. And he reveals that Sarah is actually pregnant. Toxie's wife is pregnant with 2 babies. 2 babies.
Yeah.
So, but it's not twins. It's 2 babies. Go figure. Now, weird thing here in this scene is the fully naked Celeste Octavia, who is just standing there, butt-ass naked, full frontal. In my research, it has come to my attention that she offered to do her role completely naked in exchange for 1 line in the movie. That's all she wanted was 1 line. And the line that she got was, she asks Corey Feldman if she can remove the thermometer from her ass. What a fucking movie. You get a scene that takes place in an abortion clinic after this, which again, not my cup of tea. Not my cup of fucking tea. And all of it seemingly was just to have a scene where a doctor sits on a speculum so his organs fall out of his asshole and he's just screaming, my ass! Because that's the only thing we get out of this scene.
That's correct.
You could have done that just whenever, you know? Like, honestly, if that just happened in another scene, like...
Dude, if it was just on the sidewalk, nobody would have batted an eye.
Right.
None.
Exactly, dude. Like, you don't need this backstory of, like, this clinic. It's so unnecessary. It's the most unnecessary shit I've ever fucking seen. And it's just to tweak people. Like, it's just to fuck with people, right?
Right.
Ay, ay, ay. Well, back to Toxie. He's trying to figure out how to get back to his universe with Chester. And we get a montage there. And this leads to them developing ruby slippers that Toxie has to fucking click together. And that's how he'll transport back to his universe. Unfortunately, he transports to a couple other places first. First is the filming of Missionary Impossible porno in the 70s. It's classic. And then, like, of course, he like fucking falls right into like somebody like the woman's got like a strap on, like pegging him, and like fucking insane. And then he clicks his heels again, and then we're in heaven with God. And
yes,
and I'm sure you recognize who's playing God.
It's fucking Hank.
Hank, the angry drunk dwarf from Howard Stern fame, is God. And I'm gonna be honest again, light years above an actor of most of the other people in this movie, which is
insane.
Madness. Absolute fucking madness. And he sends Toxie back to his home. And yeah, and that's it. Kabuki, he ends up in his bed, and Kabuki Man's right next to him, who's like terrified because he thinks he's Noxie, but he's not. So they go to the hospital to save Sarah, who is in labor. His wife's in labor. She's with Noxie. And we get a sequence of fight scenes of Toxie fighting Nazis. Why are Nazis involved in this story? Your guess is as good as mine. But Toxie fights them, and it's like the most bizarrely cut sequence ever. Like it's like flat. Nothing makes sense. But the blood in this montage is fucking insane. I have never seen so much blood in a movie. Like, it is crazy. I read, I gotta find how many gallons it was. It was an insane amount. 30 gallons of blood were used in the hospital scene.
That's nuts.
Dude, they were just pouring blood all over. It was insane. And again, not bad. Not bad, right? Like, Toxie rips a guy's testicles out, rolls them in his hands. He gets his hand on the lead Nazi finally, who's just like the worst, and he's like, let's find out what's inside that head of yours, and puts him in an X-ray machine and then smashes his fucking skull open. But we only see the X-rays vision of it, right?
Yeah,
which is kind of cool. He finally finds Sarah, and then the big fight scene happens between Toxie and Noxie. Remember when Lloyd was like, thank God we got rid of that second and third sequel for this movie?
Yes.
Idiot. We get the big fight scene. Toxie and Noxie fight each other. But then we also get a second fight scene here, which is when we cut into, and not cut, the camera moves to inside Sarah's womb, where we see baby Toxie and baby Noxie fighting each other in the womb with mops. Yo, that was the fucking best shit I've ever seen in my life.
With mops. The mops is the icing on the cake.
I fucking loved the babies fighting. It was the funniest shit I'd ever seen in my life. Also, Noxie has a Darth Maul mop, which... Tight. This is what I'm here for. They've got like a knockoff John Williams Star Wars score, and he's got a dual-headed mop, a mop on both ends of the stick.
Brilliant.
Noxie gets the upper hand, though, and he says, not only am I going to kill you, I'm going to rape your virgin ass first, which I wouldn't be saying unless it was for the fact that we know Noxie has a fake dick, like a prosthetic penis, which we have yet to see. We've only heard of it. And Noxie starts pumping it up, and a fucking monster dick comes out of his pants with like a fucking dog face on it. Most insane thing.
But again, this is the type of shit I want to see in a Troma movie. If it was just like this, I'm all on board.
Oh, for sure. This is fucking madness. This is like it's not here to like hurt anyone's feelings or make anyone feel bizarre. Although I did feel bizarre, but like different way.
Yeah, it's not targeting a demographic.
Right.
It's just a fucking monster dong. With a fucking teeth. Animal face. Like, give me that for 90 minutes, and I am totally fine with it.
Same. And then Toxie then gets the upper hand, grabs the fucking dick pump that he's using, and fucking blows up Noxie's dick by overinflating it. Also, the Toxie baby wins the fight in the womb, so no Noxie baby will be had that we know of, maybe. And then he just decimates Noxie, starts ripping out his fucking organs, just absolutely destroying him in gorefest. And then fucking Melvin comes out of Noxie's body. and Toxie and Melvin have this moment of like, oh, I'm you, like type of thing. But then Melvin starts biting his ear. So Toxic Avenger throws Melvin out the window, and then they just replay the beginning of the Toxic Avenger again. He lands like it's literally this. It's the scene, they played the scene from the first movie.
Yeah.
Except they overdub when he's running away on fire, and this time he's just saying, like, I'll be back. Anyway, that's the end of that. Sarah and Toxie share a kiss. The baby's born, and it's a fucking grown-ass man. But a doctor comes in and says, there's another baby that you missed. This woman gave birth and missed that she had a second baby. So you think it's the evil Noxie, right?
Right.
And Toxic Avenger's like, listen, I believe kids are a product of their environment. So, like, we're going to raise this baby. They open it up, and it's fucking baby. This is so insane. This is how the man ended his big sequel. It's baby Kabuki Man.
What a swerve.
What a swerve. And then
It should have been baby chest. It should have been baby Lardass.
For sure, it should have been baby Lardass. And then everyone just laughs, and then it freeze frames. And that's the fucking end of the movie.
You idiot.
Oh my God. And then, like, going back to Lloyd's, like, childish sense of humor, in the credits, you can find a bunch of weird shit. Like Best Boy, which somebody claims on the internet means a young boy who fillets the director. Which, like, why would you put that in there? But the name is Hugh G. Erection. Okay. Then you got the DVD videographer who is Brian Spitz, and then in parentheses, and swallows. You got something called Doggy Style by Mike Trundle. And another credit for expert masturbator at Mix. And that is credited to Mr. Lloyd Kaufman. You imagine being the MPAA when Lloyd sends you like a package?
You must have fucking agita. It's immediate like anxiety.
You watched that movie Censor, right?
Yes.
That was like kind of the cool part about it to me was like those people playing the like MPAA board and like taking notes and shit on these movies. Like imagine having to sit through this bullshit and being like, he's not going to accept my notes. And why am I even fucking here? Just like
I liked that part of that movie too because they used like actual movies that were on the video nasties, and they had to make note of all like the beheadings and stuff and pass it along to see if it gets approved. There's no way this ever went to any board because this didn't get released anywhere, which is why their claim of getting a standing ovation is fucking absurd.
Oh fuck. God damn it. Well, hey, Joe, great news. Turkey shoots next week. Very excited
Thank
for
God.
that. Unfortunately, Thanksgiving 3 is after that. So we might have to...
Dude, I honestly forgot that we're doing that. And I would watch this perhaps twice over before willingly watching Thanksgiving.
All right. I may change Thanksgiving 3. Maybe I'll watch it in advance.
Please do. I'm curious. Honestly, I would honestly be forever grateful if you watched it first and spared me from watching any second of it. Because if you're going to Audible, I'm all on board. If you want to do it, I'm on board too.
Right.
You know,
I get it.
I'll watch it. But
my
my recollection was one of the most miserable experiences of my life. And as much as I did not enjoy this, it's not even a comparison. I would watch this again in a second.
Honestly, the thing that sold me on it, on rethinking Thanksgiving 3 was Paul. When Paul messaged me privately and was like, "Are you fucking kidding me with this?" I was like, "Oh fuck! Oh shit! God damn it!"
Please watch it.
I will.
Everyone should watch it once. It's something, man. The fucking aliens, like puppetry. What a disaster.
Oh fuck! All right, let's wrap this up, guys. Excited for Turkey Shoot though. Excited. Hey, listen, if you guys have a Thanksgiving themed horror movie, hit us up with it. You know, or just like fall, early December. Let us know. Let me know. Sean at IHateHorror.com. Send us something. Maybe we'll pick your movie, you know?
We could do Dutch.
The fuck is
What's his
Dutch?
Al Bundy.
What?
It's a Thanksgiving movie.
What the fuck are you talking? Dutch? Mary?
You never seen Dutch?
No.
He goes, Ethan Embry is his stepson.
Oh my god, dude! I've never seen it. Or maybe I have. Maybe I have. But dude, I remember the cover so vividly at the movie.
I can't think of a movie that would be worse for us to do. It's definitely a Thanksgiving movie.
Hey, look, to get to know his girlfriend's son, a working class good guy volunteers to pick him up from his prep school, only to learn that he isn't the nicest young man.
He's like not that maniacal at all.
Written by John Hughes. That fucking dope.
Oh, did he write that?
Yeah, I guess so. That guy's... I don't know.
Wait, there's another... Oh my god. Was it Home Sweet Home with Robert Downey Jr.? That's a Thanksgiving movie. That's probably the world's most okayest movie. That movie is like... It's honestly, I would recommend it to everybody just to know what I'm talking about. I've never seen a more run-of-the-mill, mundane movie, but like it's not boring enough or stupid enough to hate it. It's just like it's honestly bizarre. Like I've never had a feeling like that watching a movie, and then when it ends, you're like, "Well, all right, like that was okay, I guess." Like,
wait, I'm trying to find it. I can't find it. What's it called?
I thought it was called Home Sweet Home.
I don't think it is.
Robert Downey Jr. is in it.
Robert Downey.
Or maybe it's Home for the Holidays.
Oh, Home for the Holidays, 1995.
Yeah, that's it.
Holly Hunter. Love Holly Hunter.
It's literally just people doing like day-to-day tasks.
Just celebrating.
Yeah, Jodie Foster directed it.
Wait, Jodie Foster directed it?
Yeah.
That's cool. Where has she been? She's like gone, huh? I don't know. I'm saying that, but like I don't really watch anything.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just gonna agree with you.
All right, guys. So next week we'll be back with Turkey Shoot. Trovember's over. Thank fucking God. You can start listening to the show again. We'll
Wait, don't we also get that feedback every year too?
Yeah, I think we do. I think people have been like, I don't listen to that because I'm not gonna. Joe, do you know the amount of messages I get that are like, "What is trauma?" Like it's not really like a thing anymore.
Dude, I just thought of that because I'm pretty sure the last 2 years. Well, we did it last year and then the time before our hiatus.
Yeah,
we got several messages from people that are like, "Hey guys, no disrespect, but I'll listen to you again in December because I'm not dealing with trauma."
All right, guys, we promise. Okay, here's an idea. Here's a thought. Ready? I think I got it. I think I got what we're going to do. We will still celebrate Trovember every year, but we'll do gross, weird movies, but not trauma movies.
Okay.
We'll just honor the legacy of early Trovember. Or early trauma.
That works.
You know what I mean? Like we could do, Dead Alive or something.
I would love to do it. Yeah.
Like shit like that. Just crazy over the top movies. Low budget. Gross out movies.
Necromantic.
Yeah, we'll change it to Glenn Danzig month.
No,
Erotica and the fucking vampire one. Is that even out yet?
I don't know. I know Moderate Chaos saw it, and he said that we have to do it.
How the fuck did he see it already? Did he go to
He saw it in theaters. Yes.
You people are nuts. I love people that do shit like that. Yeah, it's not out yet. What the fuck? Death Rider in the House of Vampires. It doesn't even make.
He's waiting for he's waiting for award season.
He thinks the 2021 lineup's too tough, so he's gotta, use the form to below. Oh no! Oh my God! Get out of here! Should we sign Larry up for the? I can sign him up to get a copy of it for the theater.
Don't even ask him, just do it. Yes.
All right, guys, that's it for this episode. Thank you all so much for listening. Appreciate you all that stuck through the 2 episodes of Trovember. It's done. It's over. It's over. Thank you, Joe. Just sent out an email about the merch. Shipping delays, blah, blah, blah. Shipping chain. What do they call it? Supply chain delays.
I don't know what the fuck you're saying.
Just relax. Anyway, so we'll be getting those out soon. Thank you all so much. Thanks, Joe. You can find us at facebook.com/IHateHorror, IHateHorror.com, Instagram at IHateHorror, and Twitter at IHateHorrorShow. Joe, where can they find you?
Instagram, Boognish1985.
That's a wrap, guys. Thank you all so much. And for Joe, this is Sean. Stay weird.
Thank you.
Adios.
Movies all fucking day.
I wanna play.
I'm gonna watch what I'm not supposed to watch. A fucking zombie getting sliced and diced. The monster.